What's up, you guys? I'm Rori, and you are listening to Rori's Room, the podcast where we discuss anything and everything life throws at us. Welcome to Season 3, More Than Just a Job. I am sitting down with creatives and professionals who are chasing and shaping the work that they have always wanted to do. This season is all about sharing different perspectives from different fields and revealing just how those paths might have changed them along the way. This week, we are wrapping up our conversation with artist and designer Sienna Frome. If you haven't listened to part 1 of Sienna's episode, I recommend you do so prior to this segment. That being said, let's enter Rori's room. Get into the podcast. We both select one thing we can get behind versus one thing we can't. And since you introduced the last category, I will go first. One thing I can get behind is prioritizing homemade, meaningful gifts versus consumerism. And I feel like as an artist, you can definitely get behind this, especially like being an artist. I feel like me with like painting and stuff or like video making, I always like to incorporate that stuff into my gift because I feel like I'm already always doing that anyways. And I'm someone who loves making things homemade, especially foods. If I find out it's possible to have something without all the preservatives or the dyes that grocery stores sell, I am going to make it. Like bread. I just made ice cream this morning. So good.
Oh, wow.
Highly recommend you. I got an ice cream maker, so it's not like I'm like in there churning my ice cream. I wish. But it's actually really easy to make. I think I got an ice cream maker off like, it was like $120, but it like really pays itself off because unlike the ice cream, like Kemp's, like the name brand Kemp's, they have like 14 ingredients. I did the research on that. And the ice cream that I make, besides like if you want to add like any candy or anything like that, flavors and stuff, all it needs is 5 ingredients, which is sugar, milk, heavy cream, or substitute if you'd like. And what was the other 2? Sugar, milk, heavy cream. I don't remember the other 2, but they're super easy and they're usually always stuff that you have in your cabinets. So I feel like, oh my gosh, have you seen the viral stuff where it's like if you squeeze your bread underwater and it just like folds back to regular bread?
Or like a sponge?
Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't come across those videos.
Yeah. Apparently.
That's great.
Yeah, even if it's like 100% wheat, if you take some bread that you got at the store, you can soak it in water, squeeze it, and it'll return to its like original shape, which is so crazy to me. And just like so many other things, it kind of like turned me off, and I was like, okay, now I actually have to for sure start making my own bread, because I also compared it to another video that I saw where it was someone doing that same thing with their homemade bread and it instantly crumbled. And I'm like, oh, that's gross. It really turned me off, that kind of thing. But anyways, the same idea applies to non-food items like cards and gifts, in my opinion. Like, I feel like creating homemade stuff really resonates with more people. And I feel like it means more when you give them gifts like that. Like, one thing I really like to do is create playlists or mixtapes for people where I intentionally select every song that goes into it. And I feel like that means so much more than just buying them. Like, I mean, we all love candles, but I feel like playlists, like, and stuff like that mean more because you put the work into it than if you just went out and bought something.
It's more intentional. It's more kind of devoted towards who you're giving it to, and I think that's important.
Exactly. And one thing I can't get behind is, this is a completely different topic, but begging someone to text back. I feel like we've all experienced this, and especially now, we're all adults. We shouldn't need to remind other people to text back on something, especially if it's like time sensitive. And I understand forgetting some things or maybe not having the time to make a huge response, but it only takes 5 seconds to reply like a yep, sounds good, or even a thumbs up, so people know you read their message. I feel like this whole leaving people undelivered is so high school. I don't know. I've never really been able to get into that. But I see people doing like all the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know.
Especially on some of these apps now, or even like texting in itself, where it has like the little bubble or notification that like they saw it and then they don't respond. And then that's what bugs me a little bit. I'd rather not know.
Exactly.
Then, no, there's time, but you saw it and now I'm waiting. How many days has it been? And then that really bugs me. I try not to do that to people. Sometimes when I get a message and I'm wanting to avoid it for the moment, because it's, it takes like an explanation, or it's like a question where I'm not really sure, with any kind of situation, I'll try and at least wait till I have the time to respond, open it to respond, because it's not just like, maybe it's not something like quick where it's like, an okay or something,
Yeah, exactly.
But then I'll still at least try and get to it within like a day or two. And if it's past that, then there's probably a reason why I'm not responding. But I try my best to respond. But, you also have to be kind of mindful that, life is busy.
Exactly, yeah.
There's always things that pop up, and how many times have you been mid-text and then something happens and you put your phone down and then you go and you do something for like however long, and then you pick up your phone and be like, oh, I didn't send that.
There's been times where I'd like thought I sent a message and then like days go by. And then I pick up my message to be like, why haven't I heard from you? And then I realize that my message is still in this like text bar, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I also feel like if you have an Apple Watch, you understand this struggle, but it's like whenever you get a text message, it vibrates or whatever, and you raise your wrist, and sometimes the Apple Watch relates to your phone and basically says that you read the message because you looked at it.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll like see the message and then it'll just like not appear in my notifications anymore. So maybe I'm like out or working or something, and I'll see the message and be like, oh, I'll respond to that later. And then it's just like gone and I don't have the notifications. That can also be a reason like people forget. But I feel like in terms of like intentionally not responding, that's something I can't get behind. What about you, Sienna? What's one thing you can get behind and one thing you can't?
One thing I can get behind is like properly recycling or like repurposing. I feel really strongly about that. There's way too much waste going on regardless of what it is. Like if it's, easily put, if it's like cardboard or glass or like aluminum cans or those things. Cardboard you can use for crafts, like glass, that's why you take it, or that's why it's supposed to be recycled properly, to be melted down and recreated or made into something. Art is a really huge thing about being an artist, is being able to repurpose things and make something out of nothing. And essentially what that means is making something out of other people, like waste product, you could say, like a paper, like a festival paper bag,
I remember like in middle school when they would have us like do that around our textbooks.
Absolutely, something like that. And the benefit of that is you can draw on it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So, you can make it however which way you want. And those stretchy, book covers, those are nice and they look nice, but you can't draw on them with, that's just like a simple example, and it just comes down to like, even like thrifting in a sense, other people are getting rid of their things for other people to buy, and they can, whether it's like repurposing those clothes, or let's say that there's like a painting that's in a really nice frame. You may not like the painting, you can take that out, or you could paint over it, but maybe you wanted the frame for something else, just kind of using your resources in that kind of sense. I think that's really important to me, and I stand by all of that.
Have you ever gone dumpster diving, Sienna?
Yes, I have.
On campus, it's crazy, but living on campus here, like thinking dumpster diving was like you actually have to get in the dumpster, but it's not really like that. And especially with like on campus dorms and stuff, they have just 2 dumpsters and it's pretty tidy, but at the end of the year people just throw everything away. Like we went and we saw like people were throwing like their entire pantries away, like granola bars and all these packaged stuff that they could have just donated to like the community pantry and stuff. And it made me so mad. Like you would also see like entire bags of like unopened shower stuff and like caddies, and it's like, what, do you just go home and not shower? Like what is going on with this? I got like $1,000 worth of stuff last year. Like I got a super nice LED lamp, I got a mini fridge. The amount of mini fridges that I saw is crazy, all working. Yeah, I know, it's insane, but like there's so many things. Like I found vacuums, we found most of our furniture. I got a really old, not really old, but it was like unstained wooden bookshelf. And I took that home and I painted it black. And then now it's like a staple in my living room. It blows my mind how much people waste stuff.
I haven't like firsthand experienced it, but like because I, commuted back and forth to college, I definitely saw it in, driving past, like, something as simple as like a tall mirror, one of those tall mirrors, and like all these like IKEA, small shelf furniture items that are just kind of scattered around the dumpster. When I'm telling you I want a truck, it's for that purpose. I want to snatch up all of those things so I can bring them back intentionally to resell, or if it's, if people are just throwing it away, and if it's in good condition, good quality, I don't see there a reason why it's in the trash, something like that. Put it on Facebook Marketplace for free, at least. If, periodically, I sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but I also buy a lot of stuff. So I really like that resource because usually things are pretty cheap. Mostly people just want to get rid of the stuff. Usually the costs are pretty lower, and even still, like, you can negotiate a little bit. They might drop the price. I would prefer checking Facebook Marketplace if I'm looking for something oddly specific and purchase it through someone to, kind of use it, rather than going out to the store and, let's say, buying it for 3 times the cost.
I feel like a lot of people don't know about like the quality of the stuff too. So a lot of times on Facebook Marketplace, it's like substantially less, not only because they just want to get rid of it, but because they don't know how valuable it can be. So they'll sell it way cheaper, which is so nice. It's the first thing that I think about when I think about buying something. Just a short little story with Facebook Marketplace. So I was selling something this last summer, and I had it posted for a while, and I was getting really bugged that I'd have so many people message me and they wouldn't come through, like to come pick it up, or they wouldn't respond, and it was just odd. She messaged me and I responded, and there was problems with coordinating a day and a time for this, and I ended up driving a half an hour away to drop it off to her at her doorstep because her family was in town. She was visiting with her mother and she didn't have time, and she would be around but like not at her house. And so I dropped it off for her. She left the money at her doorstep, and I messaged her. I'm like, hey, just dropped it off, all good. And I sent her a picture, just to verify, like, hey, I was here, I was here, I dropped it off, I'm good, we're all set. She was so thankful for me to, go out of my way to just drop this off, to respond to her, and, for our communication to be, well matched, and for her to acquire this thing. And really, I just wanted to get rid of it. I was willing to I'm like, yeah, I'll drive, and she left me like she, she put the money like at her doorstep, like I said, but then like on the envelope, and she's like, thank you so very much, Sienna, it really means a lot. And it was just a little note, but I was like, wow, like I really did something, I really impacted this person, I really made them happy. I left a good like impression, and I think that's really important. That's another reason why I like Facebook Marketplace, because sometimes you meet these. I didn't meet her face to face, but in this example, it's not needed. But I did impact her, kind of met her, and right. I think that's also important, to socialize with those around us in that way. One thing I don't agree with is the statement, like, you need experience to get a job, but the problem is you need a job for the experience. So firsthand, there's a problem in that statement. That causes issues for those who have experience in life and maybe don't have experience on paper. If you're going in for a job, they look at your paper, your resume, your portfolio, but they don't know you as a person, and most of the time they don't really care so much in the interview process to get to understand your like intentions or like what you want to get at for applying at this job. And so when I was applying for jobs, I ran into this for months on end, because looking to get a job in the field I went to school for, it's pretty important to get a good job with the degree that you just acquired. That's like an achievement.
achievement. Yay, I got my degree. The next achievement is, hey, getting a good job. And I didn't get a job in my field because I didn't have any experience. Like, it says right there, I just graduated. I'm here because I just graduated. How can I have 5 years experience to get this job? And then they don't want to put in the effort to train. But I don't see why training someone would be an issue when they would have to train anyone at a job. Yeah. Any job, they have to train new hires. So maybe they're just lazy. So that's just one thing. I don't think it exactly needs specific experience, but if you're applying to a job, the better half of people are intentionally applying to this job for a reason, whether it's documented experience or life experience. They're trying to get a job and make some money with something that they feel they are like qualified for. So that's something that, just kind of tripped my trigger, trying to apply for jobs. It's like, and I feel like it's an important and relevant to mention.
I feel like it's so hard to like get documented experience too. Like if college gave me anything, it was the opportunity to be in a place to get connections. And I feel like if you're a hardworking person, you can learn things. You can learn a degree without going to school. Like there's LinkedIn Learning. There's a lot of stuff online that you can learn nowadays. But being at college really puts you in the place where you can get connections with people, which I feel like is really, really important in like the art fields, especially. And also there are a lot of opportunities to get that paper experience and stuff like that. Like the degree, a lot of people don't even hire you if you don't have a degree. It doesn't really matter what you have the degree in, as long as it's like a degree that they're looking for. And in terms of like paper experience, so a lot of them are looking for like hands-on stuff, which especially outside of college can be really hard because like you said, they won't hire you unless you have experience, and you can't get experience without getting hired, which is crazy. So unless you're willing to basically say, hey, I'll do it for free, they won't hire you, which is not really realistic for a lot of people because they can't do things for free. If they're working, they have to get money so they can pay for their life. Like it's not always that easy to just like say you'll do stuff for free. And like, I don't know, with like freelance and work like that, I feel like, especially with artists, can be a little different because we'll talk about this later in the podcast too, but I feel like a lot of consumers don't understand the quality and the price that comes with homemade art.
I stand by that one.
I don't want to get too much into it because it's definitely something we'll be talking about later. Like you can like freelance your stuff, but like it's hard to get into that business and get experience because people won't buy your stuff when they can buy it for cheaper, even though it's lesser quality on like big corporation sites.
I ran into that exact example just a month or so ago, and it very much bothers me. Just the whole situation that I was put into. It's unfortunate, the huge demand on consumerism with no appreciation for handmade because it's a little bit more expensive. Because somebody handmade it. That's why.
And that's how we ended up having 4 major people own all the corporations around us.
These people that are such consumers, buying stuff, buy stuff a lot because they don't care. Add it to the cart, just add it to the cart. Yeah, just, add it to the cart. I'm very aware of my purchases. I am not like an everyday Amazon shopper. Like if I'm going to the store, like there's a reason why I'm going to the store. Sure, I'm going to probably buy some things I don't really need, but I can do that. But I like to buy things that, are either for a specific reason or something that like they'll last longer, or I'm very mindful in that way. Right. So I'm just not somebody that will just buy stuff. I mean, if it's art supplies, yes, okay, well, let's make that very clear.
Social media is always, a lot of people don't view it as a career, but having like done like social media management and stuff, it's a whole thing. Like I could spend so much time, like a full-time job is worth of hours, like plotting and stuff, and like working digitally is all like it's difficult, and like thinking of all the ideas and stuff to post and staying consistent, and thinking about staying consistent is one thing, but actually doing it is extremely hard because especially in a field like this, like sure, you can post like the stuff that you create, but you're not always going to create something every single week. Like there are other things that like get in your way. You don't always have the time to do that, despite you wanting to be at your field. And especially like being a growing artist, like you work too. So it's like sometimes you're kind of like grasping for straws and stuff that you need to post, and staying consistent and stuff like that, like it can look a variety of different ways. So like I don't think people understand the work that goes into staying consistent like that. Like sure, like you can stay consistent with like a lot of other things, but like social media is, I feel like it's its own breed. And especially if you're not familiar with like digital stuff, like you kind of need to learn that as well. So that can also be an obstacle.
Making a craft, taking the photos of it, uploading it, thinking about like what your message wants to be for it to reach another person's eyes on social media. Okay, that's like hours of work and hours of effort. Like I had to buy the supplies, I had to wait for the supplies, I had to make this thing, and then I had to like make sure that it, it's good. And then I have to take the picture. I mean, hours of work. It's just something as simple as like one of these guys, just a plant hanger. Sure, it only maybe took me like an hour to make, which is, pretty good timing, something like that. An hour and a half. But just all the like focus time on that one thing. Yeah, it is a lot of work, especially for like a craft and for art. Compared to, let's say, like a motivational speaker, where it's like, and I'm not downplaying on them because I watch a lot of them, but it's like somebody's in their car, or someone's like in their house, or someone's like in the park, and they're just saying like positive, influential, to motivate others. All they need is their phone and themselves, and boom, they got a post for the day. That's I can't do that. That's not me.
Yeah, it's different. Like
I have to work harder.
Fields.
Dang it.
I know. Sometimes, like, in terms of like making my social media for like the podcast and stuff, sometimes I just don't know what to do. I have to get better at that, but like that takes studying. I'm gonna do that eventually. Like, yeah. In terms of like your college experience, what drew you to the program of interior architecture and design at UWSP, and what did you expect going in?
So I studied interior architecture and design because leading up to college, I took an interest in woodworking, building houses, kind of the entry level. I was getting into macrame, kind of decorating my own house. And at the time I lived in a house. So just I went into the degree wanting to gain the knowledge of building houses, like decorating houses, because I was already good at the decorating part. I was good at the hands-on construction part of it. I just wanted the education to support the skills I already had. So that's why I studied interior architecture, so a part of the degree was like the learning part, like the history of different countries, different buildings, and like the parts, like the pieces of buildings, like the facade is like the face of the building, or you'll have like your eavesdrops, or like different types of roofings, just like things like that. And we started at the beginning, like way back when, times of like, and different locations, like around the world. They have different weathers, so they have different priorities on what makes a good building. They have different accessible supplies, like they have different style of buildings. And so really studying architecture really just broke down to learning cultural differences of how people live. It was a really big idea that I was not really I wasn't expecting to learn so much about culture, learning about architecture, but it goes hand in hand, because if you take the apartment, the house that you live in currently, you take this house, you drop it over in France, well, your house is going to stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, the style is different, the material is different, just the overall way you live, the way you navigate your house, your lifestyle choices are different completely. And just taking those things into consideration, as well as this is cultural wise, but I'd say day-to-day life, if you want lots of sunlight into your home, you have to have windows that face the east or the west, morning sun or afternoon sun. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to have a lot of natural light. If you're in a really windy location, let's say the Great Plains, like in the United States, like the Plain States. So much wind, so many tornadoes. So when constructing a house, you have to be, make sure that everything on the exterior of the house, that it is on there, right? You have to use those big nails to make sure your roof shingles don't fly off, or, to, be aware that, hey, like weather is such a disaster, a possibility of disaster, like our attics a thing or our basements more popular, and just kind of thinking and being aware of those things and taking them into consideration of like where people live, like what's their like day-to-day like necessities that they're looking for, and just like taking and kind of transcribing it into the creation of the house they're wanting to build.
Yeah. Is there a favorite culture style that you liked the most when you were studying?
I personally like Italian villa style homes, like the Adobe style, looking homes with like those like half round tile pieces that are like stacked on stacked for like roof shingles. They're just like bricks. I think that looks, the outside of them look so boring, but it's so like enticing to me. I like the plainness and the simplicity of it, but then when you get inside, like it's just like, it's so open, it's so like welcoming in a natural sense of things, like, the nice wide arched like walkways, like the level of details really that can like be involved. Indian style buildings, decoration, decor, construction. I love Indian style as well so much, and I want to see it for myself so badly. But if you think about it too, like in a sense, like the United States is a pretty young country compared to in the sense of world history. Of course, like places like Europe and Asia, they're gonna have a lot more history and a lot more like time to develop and to like craft their own culture, because they have the time. Like they, like, my goodness, my cat just like freaked out, my bad. But like but like they have like all their history is like there, right? And they've developed it, they've cultured it, crafted it, mended it, right? So like a lot of like the super well skilled, super like, I want to say like nearly forgotten crafts that were so important to different cultures, and just just the important things that these people had to offer way back then. Like it's unfortunate that some of these handicrafts, some of these skilled craftsmen that it took to develop some of these things. And we could even like relate this to like painting artists, for ease of understanding. Like all of these great artists, famous artists. I have a Monet painting, so I'm gonna use like Monet. Like one painting took him like 2 or 3 years. So it's the same kind of idea that handicrafts. They're sought after. They may not be recognized at first, but like they are so valuable.
Yeah. Well, now I know that I'll be definitely contacting you when I build my house.
Absolutely.
We want to like live abroad,
I would be so glad to help you create your house.
Then you can decorate it with a bunch of macrame, and inside you can decorate the interior. As long as I get a hobby room.
Oh yeah. When I'm designing my house, it is a requirement. I need a 3-season room as my craft room.
Oh my god, I love 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Like I need all of the walls to be windows, and I need as much sunlight as I can get. You might as well just make my crafting shop like a greenhouse. That would be great too.
An insulated greenhouse if you live in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Plants, and I have my tables. Like I'll have everything set up in one spot, and so it doesn't invade my living space like it currently does.
Yeah, absolutely. Being self-taught in a lot of different areas, like your macrame and all the stuff that you learned before college, how did already knowing that change the way you approached your classes and then just like everyday life as well?
I would say it did. What did you say? It did change the way that I see information. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna use an example for like using and knowing how to work with wood and wooden tools and such. I already had this knowledge and experience prior to going to college. So when I got to college and I was told that a part of this project is working in the wood shop, oh, my eyes lit up. I got so excited. So when we were in the demonstration of, okay, this is a wood shop, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, this is a saw, I'm like falling asleep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was an open-ended question that this instructor asked, and I just I'm like, yeah, it's this. And he's like, huh? I'm like, isn't it? I'm like, isn't this the answer? And he's like, yeah, yes, it is. I'm like, oh, and I ended up having a part-time job in the college wood shop area because the instructor took an interest towards, or like acknowledged me, like even on like the first day of like meeting this person for the first time, just because I had just that little bit of information that not anyone else around me did, and because I said something, I spoke up. So that's a positive way that it has changed. And in a negative way, in the same example being that I know how to work with tools, I don't mean to, but I definitely kind of did bring it up a good few times with a different professor when she's trying to explain how to design this building we're creating digitally. And I'm like, what do you mean build a wall? We have to put in studs, like the frame of the house. Like, we can't just build a wall because we have to put studs in this wall. And she's like, no. And I'm like, that's how you build a house. And she's like, no, this is just a digital program. Studs don't matter. Studs matter to a house. It's the structural to keep the thing. And she's like, yeah, but it's just a wall. Like, you don't have to worry about those things. I'm like, I'm worrying about those things. I need to know where the window goes, and I need to know where to put the footer, and I need to know how thick of nails I need. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm like, I know what I know. I've worked on houses before, and I'm like, because of my real life application, I ended up challenging my teacher on, and I didn't mean to like be that person, but I was because I just knew something that these other students didn't have experience with. Like, my real life application ended up being a problem in the learning process.
Yeah. Oops. More of an obstacle.
Yep. It was, to a point. It was a carousel of ups and downs, but that comes with learning and what experience you have going into it.
Yeah, the media tends to romanticize campus life, I think. So like before college, you see so many movies, especially with like these movies, for me at least. Like, I watched so many like Amanda Bynes movies where she would go to college and it would be like so romanticized, like you're gonna have the best time of your life. Like on campus, you don't see a lot of off-campus romanticized media, and that's not the reality for everyone. So as a commuter, juggling school, off-campus work, on-campus work, and your life in another town, how did your college experience differ from the traditional version that we usually see in media?
So a very huge downfall of commuting back and forth to college, because I had about half an hour, 45-minute drive one way, and then 2 times a day to attend college. The biggest thing that I wasn't able to obtain would be that socialization with other college students, with my classmates, and being involved in like the fun events or the comedy shows or the paint a pumpkin thing, or like the walk down to the river or what have you. I wasn't available to attend those things, being that I worked. On like 2, like I have responsibilities at home. Another like important thing, if I wanted to go out and like party with these people, go out for the night, have a couple of drinks or 2, like I'm also mindful that I don't want to get so drunk that I'm not able to get myself home, or like, right. Where would I go? Who would I be hanging out? Who can I be dependent on to make sure that I'm taken care of, if anything were to happen to me. So I didn't attend a lot of those things because I was just looking out for myself. But we're saying like party wise, like I cared more about my own safety and my own responsibility of getting myself home than I did to chance it on just, having a good time with people for that evening, But yeah, the events thing, that did kind of have a huge downfall in the socialization of things. Yeah. So you have to make friends with your classmates in class quickly, because that was the only opportunity that I had to do so. And it's hard to do that when you're in a class. You're just trying to learn, they don't give you a lot of bumper time to socialize. And even still, you make friends primarily by going out and hanging out with them. That's how you kind of learn who somebody is, build that friendship. And yeah, I didn't have a lot of extra time to do that. My time was focused in the wood shop. So the people that hung around in the shop classes, those are the people I saw most frequently. And I was okay with that. Another thing to mention is why I wasn't able to relate to my classmates as easily as other people, friendships, I would see around, is because I waited I had a good couple gap years before I attended college. So I'm sitting in a freshman class and I'm 4 years older than the average person in this class. So
that happened to me too.
It's kind of a big difference because mentality, your education, the experience that you've gone through, because I waited so long, it's I'm really here because I really mean to be here. And, I don't, freshly 21 or fake ID going out to drink and have a good time. I'm I've been able to drink for 4 years now. It's just another, thing to do.
That's also another thing. I feel going to school with 18-year-olds and freshmen, they're you took gap years? You're old enough to buy me beer. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's not why I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
That's something that as a freshman who came in when did I start going to school? 2022. So I think I was 22. And they're oh, you're 22? Can you buy us alcohol? I'm is that the only reason why I'm your friend? That kind of put things in perspective a lot. So and also considering I took gap years, the thrill of alcohol was kind of just gone at that point. So I was I don't really want to get hammered and have a headache in the morning when I want to do other things. The different
drinking tonight. No, I have to work tomorrow.
Exactly. So it's it was really weird seeing the change or the difference in priorities, But yeah. In terms of your business, I know you were mentioning all the stuff that you got taken out of it and what was good and what came out of your college experience. But is there anything that you're really, really thankful for taking out of college? If you had to pick one thing, what would it be in terms of crafting your business?
I feel my last semester at college, I was a senior, my last semester, and getting everything kind of wrapped up and tying that bow on top of things was the hardest semester. Holy cow. I would not ask to do that a second time in my lifetime. Oh no. But I think that last semester really kind of pulled it all together, my bigger idea. Because a part of graduation was we set up in the gallery space, each graduate had their own designated area to display their, some, various artworks that we've made throughout our time at college, through the studio shops, or, just large projects, whether it's a portfolio or pictures on the wall or framed this or pictures of that. Material examples of this from that. So I created my display area, and that's what did it for me. I'm wow. And to tell you that there was about 16 of us in my degrees graduating class in a winter semester. So it was kind of an odd time to graduate. I'm not trying to boast my bubble here or boast other people's bubble, but my display was the best. Okay. And I'm very proud of that because I made a table creation in the studio shops, and it's good coffee table size. And I included that into my gallery display area. So I had a table in front of mine, and I had my portfolio book on the top. So, people could page, they walk in the door and mine is the first thing that they see. I had a great spot for what I was doing.
I would hate to be going up next to you.
But I was so proud of myself and so happy and just like so fulfilled to develop this nothing space into something so like intriguing to others, because
Right.
family friends of all these graduate, like other students, professors, they're able to walk through this gallery at their leisure. It was up for like a week or so, but the opening day is when we had like everyone kind of come through and witness things for like the first time. And I had a lot of people stop by my booth, and I felt really proud of that, to develop that and to kind of experience it as a creator. Like, this is just a gallery space, but look at the outcome I was able to, like bring upon like this space, like, right? Like the amount of people, like the audience that was interested, that came up, that looked at something, even if they didn't say anything or didn't really, they're looking, they're kind of double take, what was that, and that's a really proud moment to have. So physically wise, very proud of that creation, because I really proved what I had in my physical creationness with that. On the side note, the development of my website portfolio was a requirement to graduate, and I have since transformed that into a more versatile website. So it allows my portfolio, digital art, physical art, example pieces, descriptions, projects, contact information, like a little bit about me. I've just kind of transformed it into like the bigger idea of what I wanted it to be since then. And just those two things right off the top, that's what I take, my great takeaways from college is just kind of that overall, we're ending this up, wrapping up this college bow, and look at these awesome things that I did,
Yeah. That's one thing I think I'd take out of college most too, is just building my portfolio. If anything, gave me the time and the resources to do that, and being surrounded by like-minded individuals really helped with that, I think. And is there a specific title that your business is called? I think I saw it, but I just want to confirm with you.
So my macrame design portfolio, I called Macramade, and like my overarching, my website, I purchased my own domain name. So, and that includes like my architecture examples, my digital renderings I've developed, including my physical creations, just to kind of, that's the bigger hub of things. So that's called naturallycraftedinteriors.com. So that's where the bigger idea is. But I use them both, and I can understand how it would be confusing, but that's the way that I've kind of laid it out for my own. Macramade is the macrame, and naturally crafted interiors really
it's like interiors for like houses and stuff.
It can be understood naturally. I kind of broke it down by word. Naturally, natural materials, natural lighting, crafted as in physically or crafted digitally, for the architecture, and interiors, whether it's decor or inside of the walls, it's the interior. So naturally crafted interiors, it works like perfectly. So that's why I chose that name.
How did you go about making your website? Like, what is the process? Say for our listeners who are listening and want to either get into macrame and stuff like that, and they're looking to build a website, or they're just looking to build a website in general. How did you go about buying your domain and editing your website? Is that more of a monthly thing, or is it like a one-time purchase? Or tell us a little bit more about that.
So I use a website called Wix, like Wix. So it's free to start. So you have like your username, your password, you make a little account, and it's free. You do not have to pay for it. And they really lay it out quite easily for someone that has never done this before. They have template pages that you can choose from, and they even like break it down to like, are you looking to sell stuff? Are you looking to build a portfolio? Are you looking for like making like restaurant theme or like commercial? So making it is completely free. You can publish it, you can edit it, fairly simple. For purchasing the domain name, there's different purchase options. I definitely did not purchase it at graduation. I only just bought it 2 months ago or so, because I really just wanted to, if I'm going to pay to have a website, I'm going to really think about it, because it was more expensive, but then just to be ready to kind of like share this with people, to, feel confident in myself, to advertise my website as a huge part of me, because another thing, like a website comes with like, you purchase the website and then you have like a custom email address, like Sienna at naturallycraftedinteriors.com. Like you can email me, and setting up email and setting up like how many users like you want having access to your website. Let's say like a social media person, and like I'm the crafter and somebody's a social media person, like how many people do I want? Or so yeah, it comes with the options, and there's different like levels, like light version, basic, or professional. They come with whatever bundle, bigger bundle, more money, bigger options, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Good to know. Okay, moving on to work-life balance. I'm always curious, we talked about this a little before, but I'm always curious how artists balance their work with the rest of their lives, and especially when their hobbies bleed into their work. And as artists, I feel like hobbies can become your work, or etc. And what has that balance look like for you, and how do you keep it sustainable? Either like in college, growing up, or just that shift into the real world after college,
So being an avid crafter, there is no balance because when I'm at home, I'm making something or fixing something or doing something with me.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the balance line is. It's probably like a teeter-totter, but more towards if I could stay home every day and make crafts, I would if I could. But I don't know, like on a day-to-day basis, like currently for me, I work full-time hours, and so I like full-time hours, so like a good chunk of hours in the day. And depending on how much energy I have by the time I come home, I try to do something crafty, or at least like, I try and give myself like at least like an hour and a half. If I could at least work on something, it's just like an hour that I wouldn't have to do it the next day or something. But that also, with having to go to the grocery store and take care of yourself and to eat, you're not going to have time to do stuff like crafts every day.
Yeah.
And a part of making all this stuff, I have to make sure I'm on top of the computer part of things. So it's kind of, on my days off, I try and designate one day off for just crafting stuff. Because then, and I see that as like, I'm still working when I'm not at work. That's the bigger idea here, is like, if I'm not at work working, I'm at home working.
I think that's one thing with creators, is that like their minds are always on, even if it's not for like career wise. I always find myself like, this could be like something else completely, but I do think it contributes to my personality. But like the moment I think of something, I need to write it down. One, because I have a terrible memory, and I have a fear that I will forget that amazing idea, so I have to write it down ASAP. But also, like, there's so much going on inside my head at all times, especially because I have so many different hobbies, that I'll think of something and I'll need to write it down. And even when I'm not working, it's hard to, like, turn that switch off, because my mind is constantly going, and I'm constantly thinking of new ideas of crafts that I want to do, or different hobbies, or ideas for short films, or paintings, or books, and it's like, it's so hard. So like up until recently, I had always tried to like, I kind of gave myself a hard time, and I'm like, it's so hard to like get anything done because I have so many different hobbies that I want to work on, so I can never actually finish one hobby at a time, etc. So like I sat down and really was like, why am I doing this? Why am I beating myself up? I feel like having so many hobbies, like being an artist, is like, so it's very good in terms of being versatile and being a very versatile person. Like, I'm just curious, do you ever have that feeling like having multiple hobbies either weighs on you, or do you feel like it's very good at strengthening your work?
I feel like it's very much both. I mean, being versatile is being versatile, and it's a good skill to have, you know.
Yeah.
It really is. And at the same time, yeah, absolutely, it gets to be too much. Absolutely, it does. I mean, you're just one person. You can't be everything. It's a hard balance, especially just being one person.
Yeah.
If there was 3 of me, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody can stay at home and somebody can do my crafts.
Exactly. So now the big
like, you know.
Yeah, it would be amazing. However, I am very stubborn, so I wonder how I would get along with myself.
You know, I question that myself. Could I even put up with myself, let alone 3 of me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Good.
Here's the big question, the moment we've all been waiting for. What are your thoughts to seeing macrame and handmade decor mass-produced by big companies and AI?
No. So, I mean, I know that, you know, people can purchase these things at any other store, whether it's like a simple plant hanger at like Walmart or like a little bit fancier decor that they sell at like Hobby Lobby. Sure, could be. They're probably not going to sell it. They're like their turnaround rate, they're just not going to sell it fast if they do. Mm-hmm. And 2, like, let's say like something from Walmart, it's probably like cheap. The quality's not there. The integrity, like the quality material wise, the integrity, like how it's constructed wise, it's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not fun if it's not homemade.
I agree. I can't remember when it was. I think it was either last spring. I think it was last spring that I bought from you. I purchased that plushie hammock, the one that I wanted to hang in the background. Holds all my plushies. The moment I put it up, I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. And not only did it do what I wanted it to do well, but it also was so beautiful and so well crafted. And I wanted to do a test, and I was very, very curious. So after I bought it, I bought 2 similar different products off of Amazon, and the difference was night and day. It actually made me so mad because the Amazon version used like adhesive hooks, so it all depended on hooking on your wall, which in apartments it's usually okay, but it all depends on the quality of the product that you're hanging from it and the support that it has. And these Amazon ones couldn't support the smallest amount of weight. I would put like, I don't know if you've seen like those little squishmallows that are like yay big that could be on like a keychain. I would put one of those in there and it would sink. The whole thing like would like sink this and then pull all of the adhesives off the wall. And the amount of times I had to put that back up before, by the way, when they fell, they all tangled. So it was like an hour-long process, like just to put it up once. And so I would have to like untangle it, put it back up on the adhesives. The amount of adhesives that I went through of my own were crazy. And not only did it not do the job, but it was also very ugly. The string was like so thin, and it was like, it had like one color, and it was like, I don't know, I didn't like it at all. And then like off. The 4th time that I finally put it up before I had enough and I was like, okay, I'm done. I was sitting on the couch one day just reading or something, and all of a sudden I hear, as it's like unadhesiving from the wall, it's like slow motion. I look up and this thing is just and all the adhesive just fall, except one where it's hanging on by a deer thing, and I'm looking and I'm hearing as the paint is being sucked out by this one adhesive, and I'm like, oh my god, and I run over there and it's like pulled the paint completely off to like a peak.
No.
And then in the other one, I go to look and I hear a huge, other times I'll hear a big thud, and I go in my bedroom and it pulled the paint completely off the wall. So there's like a big hole of the paint in an apartment. Keep in mind, you have to pay for that when you leave, and yours was fine. And it supported all of my stuffed animals from like my entire life pretty much. I had like stacked them and they were like perfectly fine. And the other ones couldn't even support a little squishmallow. And I'm like, are you serious? And it was like, yours was so well done that like I could put all of these stuffed animals in, and they're not light. Like all stuffed animals, like they're pretty dense. So yeah, like you would put like one big one in.
And it was, yeah, you sent me a photo of those huge like squishmallows, like the big ones. And then you had like a whole bunch of other ones in there. It's like, whoa. Yeah.
It was really well done. And
they can really hold a lot in there, because I wasn't sure, you know, like what its capabilities, because I only have like 2 plushies with me. All my other like big ones are back at my parents'
Yeah.
house. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna put these two in here just as a photo. But yeah, for you to fill it up, that was like, whoa, it can actually hold a lot.
I think the reason why I was able to hold so much was because the way that you structured it was so, if you put a stuffed animal in, it doesn't all sink and pull from the other weights. And like the cheap ones, where I think obviously you're going to spend a little bit more for well-made product, and I would do it again, especially after this experience. But like the Amazon ones, sure, you can get them for like $15.
Yeah, you can get like a cheap one at like Five Below for like $5.
Paying a little bit more, I'm completely comfortable with, and especially supporting like creators and stuff who put the hard work, and then you can be sure that they're really caring for the product versus like coming from like a factory where they mass produce these things. They don't care about your product. They might even just throw it in. Like when I first got it, it was tangled like crazy, and like it also doesn't work. So like if I have to pay a bit more to get a quality item, I'm going to, because otherwise I'm going to spend money and not even use the product, or it's not going to get the job done.
Yeah. And being that my craft is string, having it tangle or like having the fringe tangle or get messed up is such a huge concern for you as a user. Being
Right.
like mindful of like if you have like cats or children to tug on it, want to bat at it, or you know, just so it like looks presentable. Like I don't want it on your wall and you accidentally hang the thing on backwards. You know, it's like the detail's not even facing outward. I have had that happen once. I sold a piece to a hair salon and she had it on the wall backwards. And then she's like, well, how do you know? I'm like, because I made it. You know, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And just like, material wise, like if you're looking to plant or hang a plant hanger outside, I would use different material, more weather resistant, you know, moisture, you know, like
Right.
rather than like cotton. This is cotton, like this one. It's cotton. It's gonna get wet. It's gonna, you know, like maybe get mildewy. You know, it would stain easily. But you know, for the most part, it's just hanging there. So it's not like it's a table where it gets all the action. So like cotton compared to like the other string you use inside or outside, you know, like factors to consider, you know, plants, animals, children. Color is important because if you're wanting to put a nice looking plant, you know, you kind of want a plant hanger that kind of complements the plant. You know, not all plants are green, you know, maybe it's flowers or, you know, a vine or something. You know, you want it to match your interior, your decor, your style. Just, you know, I want somebody to enjoy what they're purchasing,
Right.
You know, their preferences. Absolutely.
I really enjoy working with small creators because you really know the quality that's going into it. Like the likelihood that you're going to receive a product as self-explanatory as like a plushie hammock with instructions is very, very low. They're just going to expect you to just put it up.
Didn't I do that? Didn't I give you some instructions? I did.
An index card, and it told me how to wash it and how to hang it, and it was so helpful
that for us because no, I'm happy that I did that because like those are all, like I just kind of explained, like those are all things like I think about. Like surface level is like, yeah, I made it. Like no, like I thought about it. And you know,
that when you work with people, like they put that thought into it because it's their passion.
Yeah.
Like I even proved it to myself by buying stuff from Amazon. It's like the quality is night and day. Like you would not get like the Mod Podge on the little strings and the edges of it so they would stay intact. Like no, they'll send you a terrible product and not care. Like you can talk to Amazon customer service, like they'll maybe give you a refund, but you still need to return it, and like that's just a process in itself. Whereas like if you buy a quality item, you won't have to go through that process, and more than likely if you do go through that process, you're not just talking to a computer and like putting it on your phone. You're talking to the person who made it, who can help you troubleshoot it, figure out what's going on, and even before that, like when you're contracting a small business artist to make you that product, they ask you all the right questions to avoid that overall. Like you more than likely won't have to go through that process because you've planned for that. And I got a cute little keychain with mine, so
Yep.
yeah. I think it's still on my keys. It's so cute. I loved working with you, and I'll definitely be doing it again when I have a house. And if I ever do buy a van, and this is probably not going to happen because I have my own life, like with 4 cats now, and I'm in a relationship or anything, but like I've always wanted to live out of a van or like remodel a bus or something, and my goal was to like decorate it with like all your plant hangers and stuff. So like if anyone's doing that, this is a perfect business for you. But like also, I have extremely bad motion sickness, so I don't think it's I don't think it's in my books, unfortunately, because even if I'm in like a car for 15 minutes, I'm like sick and have to have like 5 minutes out of it. So it's like, yeah, it's not good. But I'm just saying, if anyone's remodeling a bus,
when it comes to the whole, I'm gonna say like lifestyle stereotype of that free-spirited, traveling on the whim, kind of whimsical, kind of describing words.
yeah.
And I want to be that in myself and to share that with others, to, you know, kind of influence, like, you know, loving nature and using natural materials and, you know, making something out of, you know, just something silly like string, for it to be such a impactful way for someone to like feel like there's more, you know, feel like there's more to than just like everyday life, you know?
I definitely do. I really appreciate that too with like small business, and especially working with you. Like I said, you don't get that quality elsewhere. And it just gives you a better feeling. Personally, like I feel better buying from people who actually put the work into it, because we're supporting each other, and Jeff Bezos doesn't need more money. Moving forward.
Walmart doesn't even need any more money.
None of them do. They're very well off. All right, Sienna. So what does success look for you right now? Not long term, but in this season. Any goals for the 2026 year?
My bad. Success is doing this podcast video with you, to tell you the truth. I mean, I have got to the point, and with your recognition and admiration for my craft and taking an interest in me and supporting me and supporting, you know, each other, as we kind of both, we used to be old co-workers at Kohl's.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't the closest of friends, but, you know, we would say hi, you know, we had each other's like contact on our phone, and that was 2021. We're 5 years later, but look what we're doing, you know? And that is an achievement, you know, for us both to be able to recognize our own successes and to motivate each other on growing with, you know, like what we're doing, but still being a part of it. That's a whole huge success in itself.
I agree.
mean, it's such an achievement to be at this point right now, right here, right now. Such an achievement point, because, you know, months ago when you asked me, how excited was I then? And well, how much more excited am I today, you know?
Isn't it so inspiring though? Like I feel like in the spirit of our lives, we're building so much, all because we're the ones that believed in ourselves, and we are getting this project done by ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're in such a developmental part in our life where we'll look back 20 years later, be like, that was the moment that we got it all done, you know? Like we started this for ourselves, like, and now look where we are. And that's the same thing that went for you, where you were looking back 5 years prior for when we were working at Kohl's, and now we're here and it's only been 5 years, you know? So like, imagine what we're gonna think in 20 years. Oh my God,
we're both gonna be famous in 5.
Yeah, right.
By what? By our everyday wins? By like what we're doing now? How is it going to impact us? In 5 years, we'll be famous. So that's the mentality of it. It's not the, oh yeah, like, you know, I'll be famous one day. No, believe you're famous today, and then that is what you will carry with you everywhere you go. And today, people love that energy.
If I didn't like get out of my head. So like, I don't know if you've ever thought this way, but like growing up, when I first started like making videos and stuff, like I wanted to be a YouTuber so bad, and I wasn't popular. I was bullied a lot. So like for a while, I had like stopped it completely because I had enough. And so like the people at school found out, etc. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And so later on in high school, I started doing it again with my friends, but it wasn't until really recently that mentality kind of just like, I finally was like, okay, why do I still have this mentality? Like, I don't even talk to like any of these people anymore. So why are their words still resonating with me? And that's when I was like, why don't I just start a podcast? Like, why don't I start making all this content again? Because like, who cares, you know? And like, ever since I've done that, like that was only in November, but like, I already feel so much more productive, and like, I'm building my business and doing what I really want to do in life. And if I hadn't done that, I might be working in retail, you know, like, but I have this passion that I'm working in, and I'm really hoping that it turns into something. But like, you know, like in this economy, we don't know how realistic that is, because people are losing jobs all over the place. But like, that's besides the point. If I hadn't gotten rid of all that negativity that I had been harboring from growing up and like from my past, I would have never released that my work is cringy. Like, I had that in my head for a while. It's like, you can't make a career out of this. It's like, you need to be working in healthcare or something that's more reliable. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want to do that. And it wasn't until recently that I kind of like really realized that, and realized that if I want to do this, I need to go out and get it myself, you know?
As far as like, you know, like thinking that your work isn't good enough starting out, like everyone starts out like that. Like I like looking back at like some of this like stuff that I've made 5 years ago when I was first starting, I was like, I sold that? That's garbage. But that, I mean, that's just like getting into something, you know? You don't have to, and sure, you can like look back on it and be like now, like, oh yeah, that was not good. But like, at least you have that to like refer to, like, this is where I was at, you know?
Right.
This is what I've done now. Because you said that one editing website, that free one, where you said you
the
became
Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah, like you said, you've become a master of it, and I believe you. You know, you put in the time to do that, and you're telling me about it. It means that you really got into it till you got to the point where you're like I want to master. I want to become really good, and the only way to do that is to just keep at it. You know, on the same page. I do feel like there is probably gonna be like a turning point, like in like everyday life, like in our government or whatever. Okay, I'm not trying to be like that, but like what it's going to come down to is for the younger generation to be able to have these people, like let's say like people like us, these strong leaders that are like available to like be taught. Because as I was saying before, like the handicraft like of others, like the time invested that it takes to become this good, like the teaching of how to do these things, I feel like the younger generation, like if it's not like 30 seconds of their attention, it is way too much time. Like, yeah. But like it takes professionals to be able to get stuff done and to like know like the little tips and tricks, to give advice and to teach these people. So I feel like that's really important, to have strong interests and just strong knowledge about what you know. So the people that you'll come across later in life, that you'll have that resource for them. Because I personally think like there's going to be a struggle here soon, because just taking in consideration like the like tradespeople, you know, builders, makers, you know, people that build houses, like plumbers, like any people that like service other people to like get something done, to make something. I feel like there's just not enough. There's just not enough. Like welders, even, for example, people that know how to like work at cars and they're actually like good at it. There's not enough because people just don't want to put in the time to learn it, or maybe they're interested in it, but it takes too long, but they get frustrated and then they drop it. Like, and I can see that becoming an issue, or maybe it's not even going to happen. It's just how I feel.
No, it probably will. I think people don't appreciate the people who put in that labored work. Like, you think of a lot of those jobs, like even like septic pump plumbing, like nobody wants to do that. Like, that's not anybody's dream job. Yeah, but like people have to do it, and if we don't appreciate them, and actually like the people who do that, I'm so thankful for them.
Applause,
Obviously,
large applause for all of them. All of the dirty jobs that not everyday people would want to do, but they have to get done. Somebody has to do them. And I'm sure that they get paid to do the dirty jobs too. You know, I mean, that's that, you know?
Yeah.
But no,
and, like,
I
if we don't
that,
appreciate them, I think they're just, we're going to feel the effects. Like, if we don't start appreciating the people who put in the hands-on work for the jobs that none of us want to do, we're going to end up in a Wall-E world. I don't know, maybe that's too extreme, but like, people aren't going to be taken care of the way that we should be taken care of, and like all of the things that we take advantage of are going to disappear, and we're going to realize what exactly we lost after it's gone, you know?
Yeah, it's going to take some pretty strong leaders to be able to kind of do a benefit going forward for others. And as I was saying at the beginning of this video, it really comes down to like appreciating the other people that are willing to offer you a welcoming hand, you know, to really to teach you, to be there for you, and to help you, but then just kind of, you know, get things done, you know, share the knowledge, you know, help
exactly.
You know, it's the friendship, it's the bond, it's the skills, it's the interest. It really comes down to just hometown vibes coming in, you know, hometown vibes coming in clutch, you know.
Yeah. Well, in this developmental period of our lives, how do you want your portfolio to evolve as you grow?
I think it will definitely consistently develop and change, even month to month, let alone year to year, you know, depending on certain things I want to focus on, other things I may want to admit, other areas that I might want to include. It's always going to be changing. It's my website. I have access to go in and edit things at my dispense. So yeah, it's going to continually change over the duration of time.
In terms of that digital platform, how do you go about first starting to advertise? Like, whether it be like buying your domain or just getting it in front of people, because I know that can be a really difficult part, especially for creators, considering in the digital age now, everything is all about exposure.
So, for beginners, I would definitely advise, do not purchase your domain name off the top. Don't do it. It's kind of expensive, okay? I'm not gonna lie, it's expensive, and you need to start making it, you know, like create something, you know, you know, develop the page, make the tabs, you know, make the buttons work, upload the pictures, write your descriptions, and you can still do that without purchasing a domain. Prior to me buying mine, it was like Sienna Frome at Wix.com. And that's the only difference is that name, that Wix.com was in the URL. And I had that for, a better part of a year, if not longer, where that's what it was. It was Sienna Frome at whatever, Wix.com. And you could still access my website. It was completely there. Everything worked in, it's just as efficient as owning a domain. I just wanted personally to take that one step further for my own, you know? So yeah, definitely, if anyone's looking for website development, don't purchase a domain name off the top, because you can get everything you're wanting to accomplish without having to fork out the funds to do so.
Is there any other piece of advice that you would offer people just starting out besides just not buying their domain? Like, what's one piece of advice that you'd give them?
Just have a good idea of what the purpose of the website is. The more videos I watch, the more motivational / business leader videos that I watch, is keep your idea down to like a minimum, which I also struggled with, because I want to, showcase myself and who I am and my interests and everything. Less is more in a sense, and it's very true sometimes. So that quote, less is more, was by an architect, Mies van der Rohe, And his whole concept for building construction buildings was to have it minimalistic for it to have more of an impact. And it's kind of convenient that I said that because it very much applies.
That's so crazy. I had no clue that it came from an architect. You see it in so many different fields too, like even with makeup. The phrase is like just versatile, like you use it and see it in like so many different ways that it's constantly just there. So that's really interesting that it came from an architect.
He designed he designed good few buildings down in Chicago that are perfect examples of his concept, less is more. That's originally who it's from, is Mies van der Rohe.
All right, moving into the last few questions, the final closing message. There's going to be a few questions here. What matters most to you in maintaining Macramade and naturally crafted interiors? So what focus and priorities matter most to you?
Able to use natural materials, being resourceful to as much as you can, and really just kind of advocating for the, in a sense, the environment. Okay, that is a kind of another idea I want to influence with my craft, is just taking care of the earth. I want to not put as much garbage in the landfills as I can. If I'm able to reuse something, I see it as a huge win. So that's kind of a big idea for the crafting part. The supporting a crafter / beginning small business owner is just being able to share with others what you do and offering like help to others that may seem interested or wanting to purchase, or even if it's like tips and tricks on how they can hear something and transform it into applying it in their own life. It's helpful.
That actually intertwines with my next question. What do you hope that people feel when they work with you and bring your work into their space?
The biggest idea, I want them to know that I've thought about their perspective every part of the way, that they are the sole focus of the research, the planning, the design, location, colors. I'm not doing it just to sell a plant hanger. I am making it custom design because it is custom to the customer.
Absolutely. I can't think of a better tagline. All right, Sienna, so how can our viewers follow your journey, whether it be social media handles, your website, or anything like that?
I also have a Facebook page for Macramade, and then my website. I don't have a news feed on my website, but I'm definitely still on it enough, but I don't update something as you would post on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures are there. The contact information is completely relevant. It's accurate, but if you want to follow a day-to-day or recent events or recent creations I've made, I'd say the most updated, consistent one would be my Macramade Facebook page. Currently, it might change down the way.
Do you use your website at all for booking or anything?
Yes, I do have those options. I need to refine the functions on how it all works.
Right.
Because I have set up, on my website, I have this free video option. It's called the Focus Workshop. That's what I was kind of experimenting with, how it works, how do people enter the chat, what browser does pop up in a window, or do they need a code? That's what I was experimenting with my Focus Workshop, just a Zoom call, just
right.
as this is option. But that was free, so if I wanted to offer any classes or sessions, if it's architectural design, if I wanted to have a chat room where they could I'm oh yeah, hop on the design, Zoom call, and then or whatever, make an appointment.
Right.
So I do have those options, but if I were to charge, I don't know how to do that. So that Focus Workshop was an experiment, but also I wanted to have that available for just as an already set up option for one-on-one video calls it's right there on the page, and you just have to click it, and then it's it boom, it links up right up to my Zoom call. I don't have to set a link. It's just go to the Focus Workshop, and it's a Zoom call with me, and that's easy. For whatever things people prefer, talking. It's an option rather than like emailing or texting or, oh, I don't have Facebook. Oh, I don't have Snapchat. Oh, I'm like, well, we got options.
Yeah. Well, perfect. And last question. Is there anything that you are working on now that we can expect to see moving forward?
I am focused on making product for my craft show. I am doing a craft show in Green Bay the first weekend of April, and it is my sole focus and all of my stress because this is a big town. There's going to be a lot of people. I have not done a show in Green Bay. I definitely don't have the stock to support Green Bay, and just trying to think of everything I need to have a successful show is a lot. But I'm so excited to do it, and it will be a good show. It definitely will be. So I've been making stuff like crazy, pressing out like crazy, looking forward to it. The same, and I applied and got accepted to display my art in Green Bay's public library for, I think it's going to be August through September, I believe. So the whole month of August, whole month of September. So for anyone in the library that can come in, they're in the library so they can view it. And I think there's the possibility that I'm able to sell my products while they're on display through the library. That's
awesome.
Really exciting. Those are the two big things that are part of my Macramade business that I've been able to do for myself.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. That's a crucial step in moving forward and getting your work out too, because if you get it in a public space especially, people will just know your name. Mm-hmm. And even if they don't realize it right away, they'll more than likely pocket that name for later for when they do want something or when they need something. So that's really, really amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's still a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work, definitely, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's interview. Anna, thank you so much for joining me. It was so nice to talk to you. I feel like I learned so much more about you than I even thought I knew or would expect to know. So that was really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, I looked forward to today, and I'm so happy that we did this.
Me too. I can't wait to support you moving forward and just see where your journey goes. Rori's Room is written and produced by myself, Rori Nicole, and you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Theme songs and background music were produced by TJ Borkenhagen. You can follow Rori's Room on Instagram @Rori's Room, and follow me at itsrory_x for updates on the show and a few more glimpses into life behind the mic. If you enjoyed today's episode, drop a review wherever you listened in. The goal of this show is to share my story and the stories of others in a way that makes people feel a little less alone. The next episode will be on May 3rd, 2026, where we will be sitting down with screenwriter and filmmaker Adam Smith. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all next time in Rori's Room.